Hello guys and welcome to the battle review for Massilia, the free faction that got released alongside the Black Sea Colonies Culture Pack. Those factions I already discussed in previous videos. Now I will dive into Massilia. So in these type of videos I will look at the unit rosters of the faction, and I will discuss if they're useful and how you can play well with them, how to do well with them. If you want to see me doing these videos with more factions than just this DLC, let me know in the comments, I may do some more. So Massilia, of course, a hybrid faction between Celtic and Greek. They start out on the south coast of Gaul. But we're not looking at campaign, we're looking at the units. So we'll start out with the generals, because they're quite special in here. They have access to some very cheap generals like Massilian cavalry, only costing 500 talents. This is very valuable if you just want to keep your general safe. You don't have to spend that many money on him. So you can spend more money on your main army. Then for melee infantry, a good mix between Celtic and Greek. First of all, they start out with the Celtic warriors and the ex-warriors. The Celtic warriors and the Celtic ex-warriors, which are really good flanking and attack units. They lack armor and they lack just the steadiness and the morale and formation attack, but they're good on the flanks. Fortunately for Massilia, they also have access to Thorax Swordsmem, which is not the case for a lot of other Black Sea culture factions. So yeah, this is really handy, just your steady main line, probably one of the most popular units in the game. Then for spear infantry, we start out with Levy Freemen. They're not that great, they're actually pretty terrible. They used to have counter tactics in the past, but they lost it, and when they lost it they became worthless. Could be handy in a cav fight, just a support, but nothing more. We have light hoplites, which is just a weaker version of normal hoplites. Can be used, but they're just not that special again. And here's a new unit, the Massilian Thureos Spears. So these guys cost the same as normal Thureos Spears, but there are a few differences. It has more attack and it has better morale and health than the normal Thureos Spears. However, it lacks melee defense and it lacks armor compared to the normal Thureos Spears. I think these guys are pretty much the same. They look cool with Celtic shields though, but they're not that special compared to normal Thureos Spears. That isn't bad though, because Thureos Spears are a very powerful unit in the game right now. They got the number 3 spot in my top 5 best units video as well. Then they also have access to normal hoplites, just good for your main line. And they have access to Massilian hoplites, which is also a unique unit. These guys are pretty much a stronger version of normal hoplites, and they also have access to the encourage ability. However, I do think that these guys are pretty underpowered because they're a bit too expensive for what they can do for their stats. They're just a bit better than Thorax hoplites, but they're a lot more expensive. So I don't recommend bringing another a whole line of these guys. They're just too expensive. But a cool unit though. Then for missile infantry, we start out with the weak Celtic missiles like Celtic Slingers and Celtic Skirmishers, which are really weak compared to, for example, Eastern or Greeks. They also have pelters, which are pretty decent, and they have access to mercenary Gallic hunters, and these guys got buffed in patch 16. They now have 150 range, and that means that you will have this long range, plus you can shoot plus you can shoot when you are hidden, and you can also deploy them outside of your spawn. And you can also have some nice missile damage stats on them, so they're pretty good all around, especially for a barbarian missile unit. Then we're heading to the cavalry department. Only one shock cavalry unit, and that's the same as all other Black Sea culture pack factions. The Hoplites Lancers, not the best, but a decent shock cavalry unit. Then for melee cavalry they have a bit more. First of all, they have light horse, Celtic light horse, which is a really cheap and attack focus orientated cav unit. It lacks armor, but it has good attack, and it lacks morale. Good attack as I said, but it has flying wedge. It also has what it's called frenzied charge. It also has javelins on the charge, so a really attack focused cavalry unit. Then they have access to citizen cav, of course, which is the Greek version. And Greeks are just a lot more steady. They are slower, lower attack, but more defense, good armor. So yeah, more steady, less risk for them. Then in the middle they have Massilian cavalry for 500 talents, and they're just a mix of those two. So they have the attack perspectives of the light horse, but they also have the defensive and the a bit more steadiness of the citizen cavalry. So this is a good way in the middle basically. Then for missile cavalry they have Skirmisher cav and Tarantine cav. So a decent all-around roster. I do have to admit that I don't see these guys as a power faction, of course not. I like that they have Thorax Swordsmem and with them a good selection of good flanking Celtic units like ex-warriors and Celtic warriors, but they're not that great. They lack elite units, they don't have any elite unit at all, and it's just hard. Maybe if you just create a good solid base of infantry, you can do well with them, but they just lack in the skirmisher department, they're not that great. They lack in the cavalry department, they are not that great. They lack in the sword infantry department, they are not that great. And they also lack in the spear infantry department, they are not that great. However, they are a jack of all trades, they can do something in every department. So how do I recommend these guys? Pretty much two options. The first option is, as I also recommended by the other factions, go with a hoplite line, use some good flanking units like the ex-warriors and the Celtic warriors, try to pin the enemy down with your hoplites, and then use your missiles and flank and cavalry units to kill them in the back. Another method would be to just pick a safe Thorax Swordsman base, back them up with some Thureos Spears and some missiles and good cav, and you have a really solid, strong force. I would also recommend, always recommend, bringing a core infantry, just a lot of core infantry, because your support units aren't that great. I recommend using Celtic warriors in the flank, and I also recommend bringing some Gallic hunters. However, don't expect your cavalry to just beast. I would mostly focus on your infantry. So this faction, as said, is free for everyone, out since a week or so. If you want to see more of these faction reviews, please let me know. I do not have anything planned right now, so it really depends on you. And I hope that you enjoy these kind of videos, and thanks for watching them, and I would like to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.